Hello, so welcome. This is our first video on our YouTube channel, and I am so excited to finally start this journey, either with you or just in general. Who cares if no one's watching? This is an amazing journey I've always wanted to start, so with my team, obviously, not alone. So let's begin with this video. Before I do, I want to introduce myself. My name is Aquaria Doyle. My purpose here on YouTube is to spread awareness about educational animal videos. If it helps anyone, if it doesn't, that is perfectly okay. Okay? Now, the reason we're here. I am basically in charge of the Paws to Care For Instagram account, and any social media account that we have, I am in charge of. We originally started doing photography for pets and humans, but now we are starting to veer away from that. Now we're going to be doing some more educational animal videos, some more, I say some more, new. We haven't done this before. So we are not going to be doing any more photography. We will just be doing educational animal videos. If we end up doing any more photography, it's mostly just to help advertise for our Instagram, which later on then advertises for our YouTube channel. So that is my purpose here, to spread awareness. That way later on we can open up our pet rescue center. That has been my life goal, my life journey, as well as my team. So thank you for being here if you are new, and yeah, so thank you for watching this video. I really appreciate it, and so does my team, obviously. So now you see our contact, which is only Instagram. We don't have any other social media. If we do later on, we do. But for right now, Instagram is very easy to manage, and we have so many other things going on. So the only thing that we have is Instagram. Now, in the description of every single video, and I say this in the intro video for our channel, I will link all these great websites to donate to help endangered species or just help animals in general. And all of those links will be down in the description below. I will also link one link for humane societies in the US that are local to you. So any events that are going on near you, that website will provide you. Granted, it is this weird, funky thing going on right now. I don't want to say what it is because I don't want to get in trouble. But there is something going on right now that will impact that. So it just depends on where you live and the enforcements that are brought upon that. But so far things are going pretty well. There are events near me personally, so hopefully there's events near you. So yeah, be sure to check that out, participate, volunteer, help out animals near you, just in case you don't live near any other wild animal or wildlife organizations to help participate in. So you can always do local, and I just wanted to let you know that. Humane Society is a really good place. I foster for them all the time, and they're really good at communication, and they have a great message. So that is something we're going to be talking about today in today's video, actually. So after almost 5 minutes of intro, and I am so sorry about that, but I do want to intro my videos just like that every single time. So if it ends up being almost 5 minutes, just skip to 5 minutes if you're not interested. I completely understand. Just please check the description. I really appreciate it. So when you're going to foster an animal, and it depends on the animal, I want to make that clear. It depends on the type of animal that you want to foster. And that is all I'm gonna say for right now, because we'll get into that later after one thing. So before you choose a foster animal, there are a few steps that you need to take in consideration to the animal, okay? So you need to find a shelter that best fits your needs. Not only that, you need to support a shelter that is also no-kill. Take this for example. I just got done fostering a kitten that was hostile, and he was rescued from the streets, and he was not doing very well around humans, and he just got worse day by day. Well, what happens when the Humane Society can't put that animal up for adoption? Well, they recently went under different management, so they are no longer a no-kill shelter. So if this was back then, when they were still a no-kill shelter, if they had no use for the animal, they couldn't profit off of the animal, they would put the animal down. Just because of the fact that there was no monetary? I don't know, monetarily? There was no monetary gain with that animal. But now, since management has changed and it's a more, ironically, humane person, that cat, well, kitten, will become a working cat. And if you don't know what that is, a working cat just goes in the building and basically chases down all the rodents and just keeps the workplace clean. Another thing that you want the shelter to have is a clear path / something that they're going for, like a goal. You don't want to look for a place that has no goal, it's just a shelter, right? They want to save like 150,000 pets per year, or animals on the street or something. That you want something that has a goal, because if they don't have a goal, you don't have a goal, because they're not striving for success. And in turn, you don't care, because they don't care. It doesn't matter if they're close by. Don't settle for something that's close. Settle for something that's better, you know? Also, really important, you do your research. I'm gonna say that so many times on this channel. Do your research, okay? All animals are worth it. Do your research. If you're willing to put in the time to foster an animal, you are willing to put in the time for research, okay? Look at reviews on the Humane Society or any other no-kill shelter. You want to be sure that it's a no-kill shelter, okay? Please tell me you will look for a no-kill shelter if you plan on fostering, okay? It's the best route to go for. So when you're looking at reviews, you want to go through most of them. I'm not telling you to go through all of them because that's a little extreme. Do other research other than reviews, but see what other people's experiences were. And if it has anything to do with fostering, that's a huge plus, because you get to see how that shelter behaves with foster parents and foster volunteers, and how they maybe treat their animals behind the scenes. So that way you can see if they don't do everything correctly, or, I don't know, support the right thing. That's what I'm trying to say. If you find reviews that are terrible, like most of them are awful, and you just find awful reviews, you're obviously not gonna want to go to that place. Take an example. You wanna go to a hair salon, and you're like, well, I don't want them to mess up my hair because I just want them to trim off whatever, and then I want them to dye whatever, but I want it to be good. I want it to look good. But you go to the reviews and it's just awful service. They're rude. They don't cut hair right. It just doesn't look good in the pictures. Why would you take service from them if it's not gonna turn out good? That's what you want to look for in a local shelter. It's the same thing. Now, what you can do, which is what I link down below, You can go to events where you can meet other volunteers that have fostered before, or you can just meet with volunteers and just talk to them about their experience with the local shelter and get their view on it, because they're just volunteers. They're not getting paid to do what they're doing, so they'll get the real scoop. Another great thing to look for are Facebook groups. There are so many of them for different shelters or anything to do with animals. There are so many. You will most likely find a group, at least one, for one of the local shelters that you have near you. And just ask. Just ask a general question or do some research within that group of anyone's experience or any questions that they have that most likely got answered by the rest of the group. And just asking can go a long way. Keep in communication and you'll get all of your answers, all of your questions answered. Now, if you are not sure about fostering, you can always, like I said, events. Events are really great when you want to learn more about the shelter itself, if they have any. I know the Humane Society does, but I don't know if any other local shelters do. So you'll have to check that out personally. But events are so informational and great to actually be a part of, because you can get to feel what the local shelter is all about, how special the event is, how organized and everything is, how pumped up everyone that participates in the event is, and that they're excited to be there because they have a purpose to be there. They have a goal. You're not just gonna go to an event just to go to an event. You're gonna go there because you have a purpose to go. You wanna go there because you wanna participate and save the animals. That's your purpose. Everyone has a purpose when they go to events like that. So make sure you have one. And like I said, if fostering's not the best route for you and you just wanted to watch the video just to see how much, work you'd have to put in, volunteer first. Because if you volunteer for your local shelter and you go in there and you put in the work towards the animals, you're not getting paid for it. You're not getting paid to foster either. So might as well put in the time, drive to this local shelter, help out the animals, and then at the end of the day or at the end of the week, end of the month, however long you need to take before you can decide, okay, yes, I want to foster. That's what I want to do. Before you do that, like I said, make sure that when you want to foster, you have a goal. Like, you want to save these animals because you want to take them off the streets, or you want to gain experience, but you have enough experience in your mind where you're able to healthily take care of this animal. You don't want to put this animal in danger by not knowing what you're doing. And then we'll get into that a lot further after I cover a few more things. But yeah, basically that's it with the shelter. Make sure you choose a good shelter that has a purpose, has a drive, a goal, or anything. That way you are more driven yourself when you choose the shelter. They're pumped about meeting their goal. So now you're pumped about helping them reach that goal. Because if you're volunteering, you obviously care enough to help. Now let's decide on the type of animal that you're interested in taking care of. It does depend on the shelter, because the Humane Society near me, personally, allows you to take care of dogs, cats, rabbits, reptiles, sometimes reptiles. It's not always certain that there's reptiles. Rabbits, guinea pigs, small rodents maybe. They're very rare, but depending on what local shelters near you, you could just be stuck with dogs and cats, and that's the only option you have. But there could be other shelters near you that have other options, like what I just said, the rabbits, the rodents, the reptiles, if you're interested in that. So first, decide what animal you're okay with fostering. If you have no experience with that animal and they don't provide you with any training online in order to foster, I don't recommend doing that. Even if you do research online, research cannot compare to your experience. You actually should be able to experience first that animal before you ever take action. And some shelters won't even let you do that if you have no experience with that animal anyway. Now, what you can do before that, if you really want to foster that animal, you can see if they have any volunteer opportunities, like I said before, to get experience with that animal. Because once you have experience and then you're just at the end of the day, yeah, for sure, I want to foster this animal. Then it's just like, okay, talk to them, work it out. Communication is key. Okay, a really good thing to think of. If a shelter is really good with their foster parents and volunteers, most of them provide you with every single material that you will ever need for that pet that you're fostering. No matter what it is, they'll have it for you. And they will provide you with information, numbers to contact 24/7. And that's why I will always recommend the Humane Society, just because they give you everything that you need. Everything that you need. And if you ever run out, you can contact that number and they will give it to you if you go and pick it up. That's the only thing. The Humane Society also provides you with training online, and we'll get to that a little bit later, but I just want to let you know, Humane Society provides you with training. They do encourage experience, but if you have no experience, that's okay as long as you go through the training. But like I said, don't get your hopes up, because that's not always the case with all of these shelters. Okay, now you want to decide, what type of room do I have for this foster animal? Do I have a whole spare bedroom for this foster animal? Because if I do, then the range can vary. You can do dogs, cats, other animals if you are able to. But if you don't, there are ways where you can keep them out and about. However, it depends on if you have pets already. So for example, I have 3 cats. I fostered a cat. I will provide some footage or some pictures of this cat. He was adorable, very big. So we kept him in our spare bedroom, and we live in an apartment, by the way. We kept him in our spare bedroom, and he liked it in there, but we later transferred him to the bathroom, which if your bathroom is in use and you don't have a spare bathroom, it's not a good idea. So that was a mistake on my part. And usually cats don't like water, so it stresses them out. So just letting you know, bathroom that is in full traffic, probably not a good idea. After he was healed to a certain point, since he had a cone on, we let him out here with our cats. At first, our cats weren't okay with him, but after a while, he started laying on the couch, chilling out with the other cats. We then found out that when we turned our backs, this cat was attacking our cats and causing them stress. So, when he was good to go back to the Humane Society and they wanted to give the cat back because he wasn't fully healed yet, we had to decline because our cats were so stressed out. And they would go up to the door where that cat was staying in and hiss at it even though there was nothing there. I mean, we cleaned that room, but they probably still thought he was there. So they were obviously very stressed out, and we couldn't take the cat back because of them being stressed out. So you need to think of your pets first. Your pets always come first, unfortunately. That's the case. Because if the Humane Society requires you to have the animal hang out with yours, make sure you keep your own pets in mind. If they're already stressed out animals and they already kind of don't get along with each other, but they like suffer anyway, it's probably not a good idea to have that particular foster animal come into your home to interact with your already kind of stressed out animals, if that makes sense to you. So just general thing, keep your pets in mind. Please, please, please. And if they're really friendly, I would try it. If it doesn't end up working out, you always give the pet back to the shelter. You do not want to endanger that animal. And you also don't want to endanger your own pet if it's reversed. Even if you do have training from the Humane Society and you know about that animal, but you've had other experience with that animal, but you don't currently have that animal and you haven't for a while, do some research. And like I said, I will say research a lot on this channel. Do your research on the animal you want to foster. Even if you think, I already know, I don't need to research. It's always good to research. Research behavioral stuff. And if you get information about the foster animal before you get the animal itself, you will most likely get all of the problems that they have. And if you're not familiar with their problems, research and then ask. Ask the Humane Society, okay, well, can you explain this a little bit more? Because most likely the person you're contacting has full contact with the actual vet there. So they will know exactly what they're talking about. And if they're not available, do some more research online. So reach out, communicate. I can't say that enough. Do your research and communicate. It's so important. Obviously, don't go to like Wikipedia or your first link. Like, go through Google and like look at anything. Like personal experience with that actual problem that the animal has. The Facebook groups, that's a good idea. Most likely, someone has already gone through a foster animal that had that problem, so you can ask them about their experience too. So you're not alone. Don't ever think that you're alone. And obviously you want to choose an animal that you are most comfortable with. Don't pick a rabbit just because you think they look cool. Okay, pick an animal that you are comfortable with being around. Because if you go into a room, like your spare room or whatever space you put the rabbit in, and you can't even go close to the rabbit to take care of it because you're scared or just confused about what they're doing, it doesn't provide that support for that animal or for you. Because most animals can sense fear, and it's just not a good vibe to be giving to animals that actually need your help. Let someone else that has experience with that animal take care of that animal. Okay, be comfortable with the animal. And if you're not, give it back to the local shelter. The shelter that you got the animal from. Don't just give it to a random shelter. Please don't. But be comfortable with that animal. And then after years, or if whenever you're comfortable and you have enough research and you contacted people and you talk face to face with people during this time, it's kind of weird. So if you're comfortable with that, obviously, and you have enough information in your mind that you're like, yeah, I want to foster this animal, I want to try it out, there's nothing wrong with that. Just make sure you know enough to be able to do that. Now, a really, really important thing to think of. You want to foster, but you work 5 days a week and you only get home really late. Just keep in mind how much attention that foster animal needs. Usually the local shelter will give you like a time of like how much time per week that they need attention. And if you don't have that time, do not take that animal. because you don't have the time. At that point, it seems kind of selfish if you're taking that animal, but yet you don't have the time to take care of that animal. Someone else has plenty of time, but you took that animal just because you think you have time, but you end up don't. If that ever happens, give that animal back to the local shelter so someone else that has plenty of time can take care of that animal. Also, I want to let you know, don't take care of foster animals just because you're bored. Okay, if you have nothing to do at home, obviously you can do this, but if you're bored and want something to do, that's not a goal. That's not a purpose. You being bored and wanting to take care of an unwell animal isn't good enough as a purpose, in my opinion. That is my opinion, and it just makes me upset when I hear that people take care of foster animals just because they're bored, and that is their only reason of doing it. Not to help them get off the streets, not to help release a space for another pet off the street so that way they have room. No, it's just because they're bored. Have a bigger purpose, because animals are worth having a purpose. I mean, we're alive, we're a living thing. They are too. They have the right to have your purpose, and that purpose should be a greater purpose than being bored. Now let's take a moment to judge the amount of room that you have. So it is recommended that you don't do garage spaces or basements. Garages usually have a lot of chemicals in them, and in general, it depends on where you live, but you get the most problems with the garage because the garage door is connected to the outside, so you'll most likely get all the heat, all the cold. It's not a good idea. Don't put a foster animal in the garage, even if you're like, well, I have room, that's the only room I have. Then don't foster an animal. Don't put an animal in the garage. Please don't. Basements and attics, don't put foster animals in those, just because basements and attics are where people store stuff. If you have a basement where like someone's living in there and it's like a room, then I'd be like, okay, and it has like AC and stuff, yeah, totally do that. But if it's like a basement that has nothing but boxes and just storage, don't do that. Because there's so many safety hazards, and the pet can eat something that is on the floor and can choke and you're not aware of it, and they just passed away while you're over there doing something. Just, if it's a storage room, don't put an animal in there. It's a safety hazard. Don't think of it this way, but kind of think of it this way. Think of it as a toddler or smaller, a human toddler. Would you have a toddler play in the basement with a bunch of boxes stacked up on each other and just stuff all over the room, on the floor, nails, screws, just things on the floor? Would you have them play there? Their life is as valuable as an animal, so why would you do that kind of thing? So don't be selfish. Don't think, okay, well, I have room in there, they can just go in there, that's fine. No, don't make it that's fine. Be like, that's a perfect spot for them. There's no safety hazards, there's no wires they can chew on, they're perfectly safe. You want to make sure you have that answer. Now, if you don't have any pets and you just want to foster and let them roam around, just make sure you childproof really low cabinets that they can open if they ever come across it, and like inside the cabinet is very like not safe stuff. Like underneath our kitchen sink, we have 2 cabinets that have all the chemicals, all the cleaning sprays, the bathroom stuff. We child lock that because our cats know how to get in there. Our cats also know how to turn on the faucet in our kitchen. 2 of them do. So keep in mind, if you think an animal is just like, they're not gonna know how to do that. If they want to know, and if they're curious, they will learn. They will watch you do that. They'll watch you open that cabinet and be like, I'm gonna try that. I'm gonna go do that. And behind your back, they open that cabinet with their paw, and they're exploring inside all of those chemicals. And who knows what will happen at that point, you know? So if you have no pets, you're letting them wander, make sure you childproof everything. Make sure if they jump up on a table, because they will, make sure there's nothing on there that they would eat or choke on or chew on that is valuable to you. Make sure you don't have any valuables laying around that they can get on. I mean, look, this is a china cabinet. We have that up there, right there. And we have that up there because our cats can get up there. I don't know if this is crooked or not. They can get up there. And my cat, Tigger, he's chilling right next to me on the couch. He can get up there, and he loves it up there. And we don't have anything up there except for his triangle, which he loves that thing. And just make sure you have nothing laying around that can hurt them. And that's basically it for that. Okay, I'm not done with the video. I know it's a long video, but trust me, it's worth watching. I guess I was totally off. Okay, so more things that you want to make sure are safe. Trash cans. Let me show you mine. Okay, so this is a trash can that locks. Our cats knock down this trash can all the time. If it didn't have a lock and it just opened, excuse our trash, I'm so sorry, but if it just opened, if it got knocked over, they would go through the trash, and anything small or any like old food, they would eat it. Let's lock that. Oh my gosh. Such a bad example. There we go. But that's a really good trash can to have. That was from Walmart. I believe it was $15, so it wasn't that expensive. And my cats knock down the trash all the time. If we don't lock that, they will knock that over and everything's out. And all the cats are interested in what is on the floor. Okay, make sure you cover your trash can. Okay, and another thing. If you're fostering an animal, it doesn't really matter what age they are, because usually dogs and cats, full grown, will do this from time to time, but obviously kittens and puppies will definitely do this. Keep in mind your furniture. If you have really nice furniture and you don't want it destroyed, make sure you do have like a spare room to put this foster animal in, because they will most likely destroy your furniture, okay? We live in an apartment where we have used stuff. So all of our, we have 2 couches, and we have like a kitchen table that was from IKEA, and it was really cheap. I mean, we don't really care all too much about the furniture and if it gets destroyed, because it's not expensive. So if you have expensive furniture, I would keep that animal in a separate area where they're completely isolated from anything valuable like that. In the pantry, if you keep the pantry closed, then this obviously doesn't apply. Also, doorknobs. My cats, we had to switch to the circle doorknobs, because then we had the handle ones. Our cats knew how to open them. They knew how to pull them down and push. we had to switch all of our doorknobs to that, so that way they're not opening our bathroom, going in the toilet, drinking out of the toilet, because they do that, which is weird. They tear up the toilet paper if the bathroom door is left open, or when we had the handle door, they would tear up the toilet paper. And just any other room that we purposely have closed, if we had a handle doorknob, they would know how to open it. We actually used to have the trash can in a trash closet. We called it the trash closet. And we didn't have a lid on the trash because we had no need, since it was in its own little closed area. Well, we had a handle for that. Cats knew how to open it, so they would open it while we were asleep and dump out the trash. So keep that in mind too. So if that's a problem for you and you have nothing but handles, granted, not all animals will do this. My cats are just extremely weird and intelligent for some reason, but don't think that they won't ever do that, because there could be a chance that they can learn. Everything you do, and if they care about what you're doing, they'll watch you do it and probably learn how to do it themselves. If, like I said before, if you have a pantry and it's closed and it's not like those handle doorknobs, then you don't really have to worry about that. But if you're worried about the animal getting inside and knowing how to open the door with the handle, then I would keep all of the food and stuff higher up on a shelf, so that way when they jump up on a shelf, they're not going through your food. I know it's kind of random, but like, don't think that they ever won't, because there's a chance, even if that chance is slim, that they will learn if they're there long enough. So just keep that in mind. I mean, my cat Tigger, wanna see him? I think you can see him. He's right there, my cat Tigger. He was only, let's see, he was only about 8 months old. It's such a long time ago. He's almost like 3 years old now. When he was 8 months old, and when we first got him, he was small, but he would know how to open all the doors. Even though he was small, he would know how to open up all the doors and get up on counters, jump really, really, really high, climb on the walls, and everything his older brother did, he would do too. Because he, at the time, still does. He loves him. So he will mirror everything his older brother does, just because that's his older brother. He looks up to him. I don't know why. He's such a mischievous cat. So his older brother knows how to turn on the faucet, and then that in turn taught him how to do that. His older brother knew how to open up all the doors that had the handle door thingies, and in turn taught him how to do that. I mean, don't think that it won't ever happen. Don't think it won't ever happen. Okay, we thought the same thing, and it happened. Oh my goodness. I'm almost done, I promise. I promise I'm almost done. I don't know how much longer it's gonna take though. I can't. If you don't have any pets and you have children, toddlers, or even older sometimes, if they're not pet toys and they're just laying around, the animal can chew on them, and if they're small enough, they will swallow them, and it's a choking hazard. So keep that in mind, keep the floors clean, and if it's such a worrisome thing for you, keep them in a separate room. If you have any house plants, any fake plants, they will chew on that, they will destroy it. I know. I have a ledge that's right over here. I put all of my fake plants up there, and it's perfect up there. It looks great. But don't keep it where the cats can get to it. I had hanging plants that I kept in a corner of the living room, which I'm in right now. And one of them hung a little bit too low, and the cats were able to jump up and just like smack it around. But one of the cats actually jumped up, grabbed the end of it, and pulled it down, and it fell on them, hurt them. And after a while, they ended up destroying that thing and swallowing a few leaves. That's not good because that plant was fake. So it had plastic. It had all these like harmful things that if they ate it, which they did, would hurt their body. So make sure you have that out of the way. If you have the animal out and about and you have no pets, again, make sure your washer and dryer lids are closed at all times. If you're in the middle of washing the clothes, obviously that's the only exception, but like don't have them open. When I have my washer lid open, the cats will jump in there and not know how to get out. So don't do that because no one will be home and they'll be stuck in there for hours. And even though they can jump high, when they're inside of it, it spins when they make the slightest move. So yeah, we're lucky they didn't have an accident in there. So I'm just letting you know, keep it closed. Okay, and if you have you are fostering a dog, which I think is the only example that I can give, make sure your backyard is fenced. I think the Humane Society or your local shelter will tell you more about this, but a fence is a good idea. If you have an apartment and you're fostering a dog, just make sure you take them on walks, because obviously in an apartment you're not going to have like a little backyard. You're not going to have a little area where they can chill out and play. Some of them don't have patios. We have a patio, but we're not allowed to have a fence that stops from going out into the world versus our patio, you know? So that goes with the thing. Make sure you have time to give them walks, and when you live in an apartment. So if you don't have time to give them walks and they're constantly having accidents inside the apartment, you probably need to give them back to the shelter that they came from, because that in turn just means you don't have time to go outside and give them walks, so that way they can relieve themselves. So don't get mad at the animal for having accidents, because in turn that's kind of your fault. And yeah, just please make sure you have the time to take care of the animal, because they are worth your time. Okay, now we're gonna get to the application part. Every single shelter should have an application for fostering. They need all of your information. You can't just be a random person wanting to foster and they just give you a random pet, because they have no way to contact you. They have no information about you. They don't know if you're an animal abuser. I mean, they don't check for that, but like, I'm gonna make a separate video about this a little bit later, but how to tell if you're abusing an animal, or if someone you know is abusing an animal. So, obviously don't take in a pet if you're an animal abuser, but most people that have pets and are animal abusers don't register in their mind that they're actually abusing animals. They think that they're teaching them a lesson or something like that. That's beside the point. But an application requires the following. I'm gonna read this. So it requires info about your house, like if you live in an apartment or an actual house, or maybe a duplex. It just, honestly, it doesn't matter where you live, they just need to know your situation. Okay, we have an apartment and we've fostered 3 animals so far, and it's gone good. Number of people in the house, they just want to know that just in case they want you to help the animal socialize. And they also want to know if the age of the person, basically. Because if there's kids, that's a really big plus. They want the animal, sometimes, it depends on the animal situation, to socialize with kids, so that way they can put on their adoption paperwork. that they're good with kids. And that's a huge plus when it comes to animals when they're getting adopted. Because if they're good with kids and the person has kids, that's huge. Because that means they don't have to worry about their kids getting hurt, you know? What is your reason for wanting to foster? Like I said, if you put in the caption that you're bored, the Humane Society won't want anything to do with you because being bored is not a good enough reason to foster, like I said. But have a good reason. Be like, well, I want to help animals. That's a good enough reason. If you just want it to be that, that's a good enough reason. At least I think so. I think that was my response too. I had more detailed response, but basically all in all, summarized, I want to help animals. And that was good enough for them. Now, if you put in there, let's say, sorry, I had to move the camera. I want to show them who's boss, or I want to teach them a lesson, teach them who's in charge of them. Obviously, that's an awful thing to say, but if you're going through all the application just to teach animals a lesson, that just shows more about you than the animal itself. Just saying. Okay, and they're also going to ask you about any pets that you have currently and all of their information, like their age, their breed, what they are, dog, a cat, so that way they know if you're taking in a kitten and they want you to have them socialize with your dogs, you have that cat socialize with your dogs. That way, on the adoption paperwork, they can be like, well, this cat is really good with dogs. And then someone that has dogs that wants to adopt a cat can be like, that's the cat I'm getting because that cat is already good with dogs. That's what happened with my cat Tigger. On his adoption paperwork, the foster parent put on there that he was fostered with dogs. And we come to find out he behaves a lot like a dog because he was fostered with dogs. So, just to let you know, cats have personalities, okay? All three of our cats have way different personalities, and sometimes we make fun of them for that, but that's between you and me. Also, they are gonna ask you for references, kind of like a job. They'll actually call these people, depending on the local shelter. The Humane Society did actually call the people to make sure that I was actually good with animals and that I wasn't lying, because they'll ask people and be like, so she said on her information that she had experience with 2 baby kittens and she had experience with a bunch of dogs in her past. Is this true? And then they'll say, yeah, and they'll explain, well, she's so good with animals, or maybe the opposite for a different person, because I'm really good with animals and I know I am. So, they will actually contact these references. So, just make sure you're a good person. Make sure you treat animals with the kindness of your heart. And that's pretty much all they're asking you, because they want people like that. And like I said before, if you're approved through your application, you will get trained online. And on the Humane Society website, for me personally, I went through training that took me 2 whole days. But that was only because I took notes, because I didn't want to take them again, obviously. I took notes just in case I knew at the end of the video that I would forget that, because it's important. So they'll train you about how to bottle feed kittens if you ever are in that situation. They do teach you how to do that. They do teach you how to stimulate cats if they're not able to go to the bathroom on their own, like kittens, and just general information about adult cats, kittens, puppies, and full-grown dogs. And they had one informational video training about rodents and reptiles and the bunnies and stuff. But it was very general because sometimes they don't have that, especially now because everyone's at home and they got laid off because of what's been happening. So no one knows what to do, and if they love animals enough, they will foster. There's barely any foster animals to foster, and when we get the chance, we're all just like, yeah, we'll do that. But right now it's kind of difficult, have a lot going on. But yeah, we've only fostered 3 different animals. Well, 4 if you're including the one time we took care of 2 at once. But yeah. It depends on the shelter, but most of the time you don't need experience. It's greatly appreciated if you have experience. If not, like I said, they provide training, so that way you know exactly what to do in any given situation. But they do really enjoy experience. And if they have so many foster parents at the moment, and they don't feel as if you're a good fit for them, they probably won't take much action into you because you don't fit their interest, if that makes any sense. That's why I encourage you before you foster to volunteer. Because if you're not able to take care of a foster animal, because there are none or just any other given situation, volunteer first, because you can actually go into the building and volunteer. For the Humane Society, before you volunteer, you also have to take some training to be certified to volunteer and be around animals. Okay, so I'm gonna end the video about here. Just make sure when you're fostering an animal or before you foster an animal, you have an end goal. What is your end goal? Do you want to help take animals off the street and that is why you're fostering? Do you want to empty a space for another animal to come in so you can take this other foster animal to your home? Is that why you want to foster? Do you want more room for more animals in that shelter? What is your end goal? How many fosters do you want to foster? Do you want experience? Why do you want experience? So make sure you have an end goal. It's always so important, just for anything in general, but this is just so important because an animal is a living thing, and I want to make sure everyone knows they're not just objects that you can say you have. Some people own dogs just to say they own dogs. You know how I know that? I worked at a doggy daycare center, and they would leave their dog at this doggy daycare center 365 days out of the year and just pay for it. And it just seemed like they said that they have a dog just to say that they have a dog. You don't go home, get greeted by your dog. That dog didn't even know the owner. They knew the company as a family more than the owner itself. So that's just a little side note. It just makes me kind of irritated when people have animals just to say that they have them instead of being happy that they have them. When I say I have cats, somebody like, yeah, I have cats. Do you want to meet them? Because I have them. I love them. I love them probably more than myself. So I just wanted to throw that out there. Animals are not objects. They're living things just like you and me. So I will end this video. I hope you enjoyed the video. I know it is long, but there's so many great facts in this video. I have all the links supporting this video down below in the description. If you want more information, I do list every single link that I used for this video for more information, blah, blah, blah. I don't want to repeat myself over and over again in different ways like I was trying to do. So I'm gonna end it. My name is Aquaria Doyle. My purpose here on YouTube is to help animals create knowledgeable animal videos educational videos, and to help anyone that needs help with any animals and just wants more information. So that way later on in my business career, I can help open a pet rescue center and save more animals and feel good about helping the world. So here is my Instagram. I think it has been on screen the entire time, so that way you can check out our Instagram. That would be much appreciated. We post shorter videos of the same topic on there, so be sure to check that out. And I provide all the links down below to donate to any organization you want for any animal need, and I also provide a link for any events that are going on near you involving the U.S. Humane Society. So thank you for joining this video yet again. I really appreciate your time, and yeah, I will see you in the next video. Goodbye.